Hello everyone and welcome back to Ultimate Fox Simulator, and we are here with Chaya and Adar, who currently have a quest. Let's see what it is. It's the golden mushrooms, which apparently we're already almost complete with. Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue that. Let's just go ahead and we'll finish that off. And I've actually been doing some research here because we've come up with a lot of questions about Fennec Foxes over the course of this playthrough because we realized that I actually don't know all that much about them. And so I've been doing a little bit of researching here and trying to learn more about them and kind of compiling a little bit of a reference sheet here so that when these questions arise, hopefully we'll have an answer. And if not, well, that'll just give me something more to look up. But one of the major things that I realized about Fennec Fox is that I actually did not know. And let me just see. So we'll go get this mushroom, I think, and then we'll go get water, because we should be okay with that. But, yeah, one of the biggest things about Fennec Foxes that I didn't know is actually just how small they are. They can weigh as little as 3 pounds, and they're only a foot in length. So these guys are honestly tiny. I mean, I knew they were small, but I didn't know they were that small. For comparison, my cats weigh about 12 to 15 pounds, and given that they're large cats, even so, most cats weigh around 10 pounds, or, oh dear, the snake's fallen through the ground. But most cats will weigh around 10 or more pounds in my experience. And so to think about 3, it's crazy how tiny these guys are. So, yeah, we're definitely going to avoid fighting as much as we can because in the real world, okay, we did get the mushroom. That's good. Oh, and we got experience. Sweet. Experience is always good. But yeah, in the real world, these guys would not be able to take on all that much. Oh my goodness, and Adar is flying. That's fine. um, but yeah, so in the real world, these guys would not be able to do all that much fighting, and so we're definitely going to be relying more on escape in this than actually trying to stand our ground and fight. Now, we will fight back if we have to, but otherwise, not so much. Now, we also were running into a lot of boars last time, and in my researching, I don't think there's any sort of wild pig that lives in the Sahara. Now, I haven't seen anything about him at least. But, oh, and speaking of, let's just avoid these guys, because they are clustered right around that carcass. But yeah, speaking of animals that do live in the desert, I did find out that they actually do have crocodiles. There are certain types of crocodiles that live in the Sahara that generally, I think they kind of, I forget the term used for it, but basically they come out during the rainy season, and I think they actually basically burrow and kind of hibernate otherwise. I can't remember the exact terminology, but they are active and will gather in the rain because occasionally it will rain in the Sahara, and apparently it does have a rainy season and a dry season. Now, granted, I don't know how much of a rainy season it has. I don't know if it's like, well, it rains sometimes as opposed to never, versus it rains a lot compared to raining not that much. I would kind of suspect it might be the latter because it is a desert. Or not the latter, but the former. I kind of would suspect it means it rains sometimes. But yeah, when it rains, there are crocodiles that will sometimes appear. And there are also caracals in the desert, which these guys I think are bobcats by the look of it. Yeah, they look more like bobcats than caracals. We're gonna try and steal some of this food, because it looks like he's going the other way. But yeah, so caracals are one of the creatures that actually it could be a predator of the Fennec Fox. Now, since Fennec Foxes can be very reclusive, it can actually be hard to observe them. So it's sometimes hard to know exactly what their interactions with the environment are. Whoa, that bat kind of came after us there. And the reason I did attack the bat is because it looked like it could be reasonably small enough so that's something a Fennec Fox could deal with. It's not all that big, and so we basically target anything that's our size or smaller. So, but yeah, so caracals are a potential predator of the Fennec Fox if they can catch them, and so with that in mind, we'll be avoiding any of the cats that hang out in this desert. I think the one we saw there is kind of more has the looks of a bobcat than of a caracal, but maybe we'll call them caracals because they're probably the closest thing we're actually going to see to a caracal in this game. Now, another potential predator of Fennec foxes would be jackals and hyenas. So those are some larger canid and caniform. Hyenas are actually not quite as closely related to dogs as most people think they are. But those are some other creatures that will prey on them. And so I didn't see anything about African wild dogs attacking them. I imagine that if given the opportunity, an African wild dog would go after a Fennec fox. And there are some places where their ranges could potentially overlap, but it doesn't sound like it's a common enough occurrence for it to be noted. Now, the one thing we will do is fend off other Fennec foxes because we have a territory to protect. There's 2 of them here, so let's be a little cautious. But Fennec foxes are actually fairly social. Oh my goodness, no, please do not. Oh my goodness. Okay, we gotta fight this guy off. Oh, this is very, very strong. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's heal. Heal. Okay, we've got to back off. We don't have stamina. Alright, we need to back up. Okay. Oh no. Oh, Adar. Adar won the fight. Good job, Adar. Okay, we need to finish this fight too. Adar, I could really use a hand right about now. Or not. Okay, I guess that would be a paw then, too. And remember, we're not actually eating the foxes. We're just stealing the experience and stealing whatever food they happen to be carrying. But Fennec foxes are social, and the one disclaimer that I do have about this is that, again, it's hard to study wild Fennec foxes, and because of that, most of the data we have about them is based off of captive Fennecs. So with that in mind, it's kind of a similar situation to what we saw with wolves, where for a long time they had the whole alpha-omega system where they thought a wolf pack would have really structured ranks, but it turned out that was based off of observations of captive wolves that were behaving differently than the wild ones, and they found out in the wild that a lot of wolf packs are mostly family groups as opposed to unrelated individuals who have come together. And it's kind of a similar situation there, so this information I'm giving you is based off of captive creatures from what I know. And so it may not be totally accurate to wild behavior, but it's the best data that we have for the time. And that's the thing about science, is it's always changing because we're always learning new things. And so what's known science now may change depending on how new information becomes available. Are you actually going to heal all the way up? Maybe? I don't know. We better play as Adar for a bit and try and get him healed up if we can. But basically they think that Fennec Fox packs probably work similarly to what we know about wolf packs, in that it's generally a mother, father, and then perhaps some older or younger offspring. So they do think the pups will stick around for a little bit after, even after growing up. They tend to hang around for a while, and I imagine they would disperse at some point. I didn't actually find any data on whether or not they disperse or what. But I imagine if they wanted to find a mate out that, because obviously if you're sticking with your family pack, you're not going to find an eligible mate in there. They're all going to be related, and so I imagine at some point they'd have to disperse off. But again, I didn't see anything about whether or not they do disperse or anything like that. So, but yeah, generally they think a Fennec Fox pack, or technically it wouldn't be called a pack, it would be called a skulk or a leash. Weird names, I know. But that's what fox groups are called. But yeah, they generally think that they are family groups, and that's generally when you see larger group of foxes, it's probably older offspring. Now, Fennec foxes do actually mate for life, and so that means that unlike lynxes or whatnot, oop, and there's a little lizardy guy we can take down. But unlike lynxes or some other animals, they will take a mate and stick with them until one of the mates ends up dying, and I don't know if they would go on to take another mate. It would probably depend on what happened, how young the fox would be or not. But they do mate for life, and so they form a pack that way and stick together year after year, as opposed to meeting just for a little while and then splitting up. So it's pretty interesting. I've learned a lot about Fennec foxes, that's for sure. A lot more than I ever thought I would know, just in researching here. Another really cool thing that's kind of appropriate right now is that Fennec foxes are actually nocturnal, and the reason for this is that it's a lot cooler in the desert at night, and so they don't have to worry as much about overheating. So you'll also see they have those really big ears, and the reason those ears are so darn huge is that it helps get it helps to keep the heat away from the body, so that like it's kind of like a giant air conditioner in some ways, if you pardon that analogy. It helps keep the heat from reaching the body. It kind of helps carry it away so that they will stay cooler. But another way they avoid overheating is by spending a lot of time out at night and then hiding in their burrows during the day. So maybe we'll wait until daytime to try and head back here, because we're not going to be able to do it perfectly. We're not going to be able to hide all day, every day in our burrows here like a real Fennec Fox would do, and that's unfortunately one of the limitations of a game, is that it just it doesn't work out. It's not really all that fun if you perfectly imitate an animal's life, because they spend a lot of time sleeping, they spend a lot of time hiding, and that's not really fun to replicate. So, but this is the time when Fennec Foxes would be out and about and wandering around looking for food, or trying to do their daily duties. They tend to do that at night rather than under the glare of the sun. And speaking of diet, that brings me to another question. I'm sorry, I'm kind of just spouting fact after fact here. Hopefully this isn't too much to take in all at once. I just have finally found answers to a lot of the questions we've asked over the course of the series. But we have been asking a lot of questions over whether or not a Fennec Fox would eat a scorpion, because that's one of the things we've done here in the series, is we've been munching on scorpions. And the answer is yes, they actually do. And I actually have a video of that I will put in the cards. If you guys have that, if you have access to that, you can click the little button that'll pop it up in the upper right, and that'll take you to a card so that you can take a look at that and actually see a video of a Fennec Fox eating a scorpion. Now, it is a live scorpion. It's, as far as I know, a wild Fennec Fox, and so if you really don't like videos of animals hunting, you may not want to watch it. But if you're okay with that, and you're ready to see some nature being nature, then by all means check it out. It's a pretty interesting video. Now, I wasn't able to find any information on whether Fennec Foxes are actually resistant to a scorpion's venom, because there are some very dangerous types of scorpions that live in the Sahara Desert, and a lot of them have venom, so if you get stung by one of them, you can get really, really sick, and generally venom can be more dangerous the smaller you are, and given that Fennec Foxes are so small, you would think that could be a real danger to them. But seeing as they do go after scorpions, it's not out of the question to think that they may have some sort of venom resistance or something along those lines, but I couldn't find anything confirmed in that regards, so I don't know for sure if they do or don't. But what I did notice in the video, and if you guys go to watch that too, is you'll see that the Fennec Fox, for the longest time at first, will target the stinger. It'll go after the stinger and try to bite it off of the tail, so that the Fennec Fox won't get stung by the scorpion. And it actually will remove that stinger as best it can before finishing off the scorpion and eating it. So yeah, if you guys end up watching that video, you will notice that. And so, I mean, personally, I find it hard to believe that a Fennec Fox would not have some form of poison resistance, or I guess it would be venom resistance in this, because otherwise it would just be too risky to go after something like that, yet this fox seemed to have no qualms about it. But again, I did not find official confirmation either way whether Fennec Foxes do or don't have a resistance to scorpion venom, so don't quote me on that one. That's just what I think would logically make sense. And you know, that is an adaptation, or not an adaptation, it's a trait that a lot of desert animals have. So, because I mean, if you're going to be hunting, oh no, why are you right by our den? What? No, excuse me, no. Uh-oh. Oh, there's another one. Okay. Alright, we gotta finish this guy off. There's actually two, but they're both level 10s. Okay, let's heal. We gotta finish this guy off. Oh no. Okay, did we finish the one? We did finish the one. Uh-oh. Chaya, we really need to finish this guy off. We need to heal. We need to heal. Okay, I'm going to stop and fight now. We can take this one down without too much trouble, but I did not want to risk dying in the process because even though at this point we're not going to count deaths, we are still trying to avoid them as best we can because obviously getting a, or I guess technically we don't count it as a death, we count it as an injury that could potentially lead to death. And, I mean, that's not advantageous to survival. You definitely want to be avoiding that if at all possible. So, with that said, let's actually see. I kind of want to go get more water. And we've talked about this before, but in the real world, Fennec Foxes actually don't need to drink water. They can survive on water they get from the food they eat. And the reason for this is that their kidneys are specially designed to be able to work even with minimal water intake. So a Fennec Fox will drink water when given the chance, but doesn't have to in order to survive. And that's a really, really cool thing about them, is that they actually don't need to drink water. They can survive on water they get from the environment. So, let's see here. We are going the wrong way. Great. Let's head this way. But unfortunately, in-game, our Fennec Foxes are not quite so specialized to the desert, and still need to drink water in order to make sure that they're not going to run into trouble there. So let's keep heading this way, and hopefully we'll get there pretty quickly, and then we'll head back to the den and wrap up the episode. So you guys will have to tell me how much you like me giving facts like this throughout the episode. Do you prefer that I focus more on the gameplay even when there's not as much going on, or do you like that I'm doing this researching and then incorporating a lot of information about actual real-world animals into the videos here? You'll have to let me know what you think about that either way, because I have a lot more facts that I can add into these videos, and I can always research more if you guys do like that style as opposed to the pure storytelling one. And they are nice filler for when we're kind of just running around. But if you guys would prefer that I stick to a more strictly story-based one, then I can definitely go more heavy on the story. It really just depends on what you guys want to see. But if you like seeing and hearing all these facts, if you like me doing this research and then incorporating that into the little bit more idle times, then we can certainly go ahead and incorporate some more facts into this, and I can do some more research and find cool little things to tell you about the animals we're actually working with in this. No, I don't want to. No, why is my stamina going down? Oh, it's because apparently it takes stamina to drink? Okay, then. I'm not quite sure that's, I don't know. Okay. But the one thing I do want to say, the one last fact that I will give you for this time is that the other thing I learned is that there are generally 2 to 5 cubs born in a single litter. Now, this game has this game lets you have 1 cub at a time. That is a mountain lion. Mountain lions are not normally going to interact with Fennec Foxes. They're from completely different parts of the world. But nevertheless, we are going to avoid. But yeah, so they generally have between 2 to 5 cubs at a time, and while we can only have 1 at a time, we'll count this whole thing as a single litter, I think. And so we'll probably stick with somewhere in that... Uh-oh. No. Oh my gosh. Okay. Chaya. Okay, we gotta fight this guy. Oh my goodness. And it didn't even give us food. Okay, let's switch back to Chaya here. And go ahead and heal her up. We probably ought to up our healing ability at some point so that it's a little bit more effective. And of course, you know, wild foxes, real-life foxes really don't have the ability to heal like that, but it's a game. Those are African wild dogs. Okay, we're going to avoid them too, because I bet they would come after us if they ever did interact, and certainly in this game they will. But yeah, so we're not going to have any more, and I think that's actually the maximum you could have would be 4 or 5 additional members. So if we look here... no. Oh yeah, no, that was right, okay. So... All right, let's see. So, oh yeah, 5, 15, 25, 40, 55. So you could have at maximum, assuming you have a mate, you could have at maximum of 4 additional foxes in your pack, so 4 additional cubs. And depending on what you guys want to see us do, we could either just expand the pack to that point and keep playing with this pack in continuous seasons here, or we could do kind of what we're doing with our red fox family and have a certain number of cubs and then follow them and end off the first season. So you guys will have to tell me what you guys think about that. Would you rather see us try to have a large pack that we play with continuously, where because it did say that sometimes the older offspring will stick around. I did read that, and let's make sure to finish this quest too. Oops. But with that in mind, we could do something like that, or we could continue to play this in a similar way to the Red Fox family, where we go on generationally, instead of raising up all of the foxes to basically a similar level at a similar time. You guys will have to tell me what you think about that. And we can work with the series accordingly. I definitely want to see, and I wouldn't be opposed. Okay, there we go. We'll go ahead and accept this too. I wouldn't be opposed to doing this series a little bit differently, but it all depends on what you guys want to see. But with that said, it is about time to wrap up the episode again. Unfortunately, we are out of time for today, so we'll go ahead and end off this episode here for now, and I will see you guys next time. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.